is Natalia on Luxury with Natalia. I'm delighted to have Alan Waxman on from Landmass, London. How are you today?
I'm very well, actually. Always, as we'd say up in Yorkshire, must not grumble.
Wonderful.
Yorkshireman means pretty good.
That sounds good. So I see a wonderful background there, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about property, as that's your speciality. So how did Landmass London come about, and what do you do?
So started 21 years ago, and my initial idea was to buy some small properties to rent out, as I'd never worked in property before, and I thought the idea of having a nice portfolio and a rental income would be a good thing to do. And I started that. The first property I bought was in a place called Walworth, which is quite near Peckham, which some of your viewers might know from Only Fools and Horses. And it was a two-bed flat for £55,000, which in today's money means not a lot, because obviously we've had a bit of inflation. And I was very excited. I was excited when I got in the furniture. I was excited when I got my first tenant. And I was very excited when I got the first money from the first tenant. And I thought, well, this is the way to go. And then what happened, I bought a few other properties, and then I couldn't get the rental income for one property, which I'd had decorated by a couple of Irishmen. And although I do love the Irish, I did have to confiscate their cans of Guinness while they were doing the painting and decorating. But I then found I couldn't get the rental income. So I thought, well, let's see if I can sell it for a small profit. And I was able to do that. And so I then actually started buying things to renovate and sell. And I bought 2 floors above an off license in Fulham, just a pretty good part of London. And because I'm very clever, as you may have realized, Natalia, I only moved the location for the kitchen 3 times, because I was clever enough to realize that I didn't know what I was doing. That's what I mean. And actually got it right in the end, and got a feng shui specialist to come and check it, and she was happy with it. And we then sold it pretty well. In fact, for a record price for that location. And then I bought a couple of flats in Notting Hill, which were 2-bed flats. And I did something strange for a developer. I changed them not into 3 beds, but actually into 1 bed, because I felt the space would work better. And Sienna Miller, the actress, bought one, and somebody else bought another. And again, we did pretty well on it. And then I started to go up market, and the property you see behind, which was one of your comments earlier, was a project I did in Belgravia. So I'd generally gone up market. And for viewers who may not know, Belgravia is one of the better parts of London. And it was quite an interesting puzzle, because I like puzzles when it comes to property, because a lot of it is turning the negative to a positive. And this house only had windows at the front of the property. So it was obviously quite dark. And so to turn the negative to positive, I took out a rear corner of the property, put a glass retractable roof, and a 10.5-meter waterfall going down to a Japanese Zen garden. And so when people came into the property, they went, wasn't expecting to see that. And actually another actress, Nicole Kidman, who I met with, she was going to buy it. We agreed terms, and then she got pregnant and changed the plans. But it would have been nice, obviously, to have done a deal with her as well.
I love this creativity, very innovative, and something that people would not have thought of, perhaps. And that's kind of what your key attributes are, aren't they?
Well, I think every artist, creator, boat builder, boat architect, boat designer, they want to think out of the box and give people not necessarily what they think they want, but what they think that they may need or enjoy, which they hadn't really thought of. And that's really what we get paid for. It's the added value that one can bring to the table. And I think in today's world, whether people are rich or poor, because of what's happened, I think people everywhere are more conscious of money, and that they want more value, they want more added value. And I think that if one is able to bring that to the table, it is very much appreciated, even more so than it was this time last year.
And we frequented each other quite a lot at various venues, events in Monaco, during which we had a chance to mingle and network. And what's your take on sort of the difference between London and Monaco as a property market?
Well, Monaco is very interesting because, you know, as you can see from what I've just sort of spoken about, design is super important for us. And the way that we get the design right, first of all, is how we use the space. Because if the finishes are fantastic, but the space planning is no good, it's still rubbish. So we've learned our trade, in essence, in a tough market, which, you know, London is a tough market. And the reason for my interest in Monaco is because, and I say this with the greatest respect to people in Monaco, but there's nowhere in the world where the prices of the property is so high and generally the level of design is so poor. And I think that people have just had an easy ride there. They've been able to shovel whatever to people which they've either rented or bought. And I do think that there is a significant desire from people renting, buying property, owning property to make the best of their space. And the challenge with Monaco, obviously, you have a lot of red tape. I'm actually just in the finishing stages of getting my license to do interior design in Monaco, which will be good. It will help give a bit of a rubber stamp. But I do see a massive benefit of good space planning, which a lot of the apartments seem to lack at the moment. And but you know, we will also be able to do the same sort of thing in all along the south of France, the Côte d'Azur, because we're working very comfortably with a good construction company, an Anglo-Saxon construction company. So we're able to give a complete turnkey from start to finish, down to the monogrammed bathrobes, which clearly are very, very important.
I'll order one of those then, thank you. In the midst of a construction myself, so that's amazing, Alan. Well done on the license too. That will be refreshing, especially for the Anglo community who know you and will be able to call on your expertise. So my question is, what is it that people are looking for right now? I mean, we've just had this terrible 4 months of COVID-19. It's still going on. Is property on the up? I mean, is this a chance to really get a bargain and renovate and do something amazing?
Well, you know, people always think like that. And, you know, they, you know, obviously we had the riot, you know, there's that old adage, buy property when the streets are burning. But the reality, unfortunately, isn't as from a property point of view, a price point of view, as interesting upon me as that. Yes, you know, prices have obviously got a little bit soft over the last 3 months, because obviously there's been no real transactions, but it has been very much a vacuum. And the thing about central London is that the level of mortgages that people have in the prime areas in relation to the value of the property is generally quite small. And of course, interest rates are very, very low. So there hasn't been a massive pressure for people to sell. So, I mean, I have not really had any, you know, normal flats or houses offered to me at massive discount prices. You know, generally the agents throughout the UK are about 12% up now on registration of buyers, and they are about 15% down on the level of stock. So, you know, there are a lot of, at the moment, more people wanting to buy than wanting to sell. And, you know, with every product, whether it's a car, a boat, a house, the market is always dictated like apples and oranges, supply and demand. Mm-hmm. And, you know, at the moment, you know, obviously the harder you look, you know, there are some potential opportunities. I have two sides to my business. I have development. We've done over 30 projects as principal, and then we have the services. And on the development side, I'm now back in the market looking for stock to buy. Started last week, and I've got, you know, 3 or 4 things that we're looking at seriously where I see good value, and looking to work with investors who see an opportunity of making money out of the London market, because especially if they have money in the bank, you know, they're getting 1 or 2%. Stock markets are obviously pretty risky at the moment. You have to be pretty brave and certainly know what you're doing and be able to get in and out fast as markets fluctuate. So we're getting, you know, interest from investors. We've got some good properties that we're looking at. So that side of the business is now coming up. And then on the other side, because of the property that I did behind in Belgravia, where we won actually best interior design in the country, best development in London, people then said to me, could you do design work for us? So I came to the business to buy things to rent out. I then by default, by the Irishman painting the property, I then sold for a small profit. I then became a developer by default. Then because people liked what we did, we then started doing design work for clients, again, by default. And then, of course, what's happened is some of them like what we do, and they say, well, look, could you find us a property and then have it designed to our taste? So we're now starting to offer that service to private clients, where we will source, but specifically unmodernized properties, doer-uppers, whatever you want to call them, because that way they can buy a property and have it designed to their taste.
Fantastic. Sounds like the whole turnkey solution, and that's what is expected. And I think it's good to have one person to speak to rather than 10 different ones, and especially down in the south of France, it can get complicated with all the workers and that. So that's really welcoming, Alan. And tell me a bit more, if somebody wants to connect with you. I mean, you do some great video content yourself as well on YouTube, explaining what the status of the market is and what things you should look out for. So where can they connect with you?
Well, I guess the easiest is our website, landmass.co.uk. And, you know, what you talked about is of having one person. I think that today, because of what's happened, there's a nervousness around the world, understandably. And I think people are gravitating more and more to people that they feel that they can trust and know. And they're then looking for them to do other things with, rather than make necessarily new contacts, because they like, it gives them a sense of comfort. And then the other thing that I talked about was added value. And the interesting thing about sourcing unmodernized properties is because we can obviously buy at a lower price point, because it's naturally a bit knackered, you know. And in England, well, United Kingdom, we have very high purchase tax of, if it's a second property, at the moment up to 15% and going up to 17%. So, on a property, for a few £1 million, there's a massive saving which can then be used towards the construction costs. So the idea is that the total cost, once finished, would be significant less than if somebody had bought something already done. And also, I know from my own projects, although people love them to bits, otherwise they wouldn't buy it, they always want to personalize it. And that obviously costs them extra money. So why not personalize it right from the start, so you don't have to flush money down the toilet? And the other thing is, we only started really sourcing for private clients, partly because they wanted to, but partly we were getting asked by other property finders, because most property finders in London, there's lots of them, they're all ex-estate agents, nearly 100%. And whereby they obviously have very good knowledge of the market, they don't have the same knowledge that we have of what to do with the property. And, and I've used my own money, so I come from it from a principal point of view rather than just a service provider. And when they have clients who are looking at a property which needs work, they bring us in to advise them. So in essence, what I thought, well, why not do it ourselves? And the three things that buyers want to know, if you allow me just to explain, first of all, they want to know how long the project's going to take, what's it going to cost, and also what alterations can they do. And we recently helped a property finder in Belgravia. Client wanted to buy a mews house. It had 2 garages. It had an internal layout which they weren't happy about, and they wanted to know, could they get rid of one of the garages? Could they change the layout inside? What could they do? What couldn't they do? What restrictions were they? And because we're also architects in-house with the Royal Institute of British Architects, is where we're registered, we're able to advise on things like that. So it's a different peace of mind, I think, to a buyer, because we're talking about a lot of money.
Absolutely. Sounds like a concise solution. And I invite everyone to connect with you after this interview is done. At the bottom of the video, we will put the website address and also your contact details. So thank you so much, Alan, for coming on. And I wish you all the best, and hopefully we get to meet soon.
No, that's very kind. And I'd just like to say to any of the viewers, if you've got any questions, whether it's related to this or not, that I can help with, in London or Monaco or the south of France, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Alan.
Yes.
Thanks everyone for watching. This was another episode on Luxury with Natalia. Keep watching, keep liking and subscribing for more. Take care, everyone. Bye.